When people talk about enemies to lovers, this is probably the epitome of enemies to lovers because I've never seen two people who want to kill each other as much as these.
Hi, this is Juniper.
Hello, this is Elle.
Welcome to our pod. Today, we're going to do a halfway or early impression of a recently airing Chinese costume drama called Faded Hearts. Chinese title is 一笑随歌. It is currently airing, as of our recording anyways, on iQIYI, and it's supposed to run for a 38 episode tally. I am up to the beginning of episode 25, so I'm following the show as it's airing. And Elle, you came slightly later to the game and got sick along the way. So power through some episodes, and you're where now?
Midpoint of episode 12.
Okay. So usually we have spoilers in our discussions. We'll try to keep it as light as possible for everyone's benefit, and because Elle doesn't like spoilers herself.
Yeah, don't tell me. Don't tell me too much.
You can be like, stop, if I'm going too far. Okay, so both of us are really enjoying the show right now, even though we're now at very different points along the way. So today we'll try to talk more overview perspective, and for those of you who aren't watching the show yet, try to convince you why you should watch it. Before we get started, I'll just give a real quick synopsis, and Elle, you fill in the blanks that you think I'm missing that are important, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The story is about the coming together of two enemies. One is the eldest prince of the Susha kingdom, and the other is a female military commander, and I guess she's a master archer from the enemy state of Jingshou kingdom. So right off the bat, at the very beginning of first episode, she almost kills him in battle when the arrow through his heart, near his heart, so through his chest. And after that, their paths recross while he's injured, and she's also injured actually from some really mysterious circumstances, which the show basically spends the earlier part of the episodes trying to figure out. Through those mysterious circumstances, she falls off a cliff, loses her memory, is severely injured, and she's being pursued by assassins, we find out. And he takes her prisoner because they somehow bump into each other, and then eventually, though, they become allies in figuring out the many intrigues and mysteries that touch their lives. That's as high level as I can keep it. Anything you think is important that you should know for the people who haven't watched the show?
No, but I would say that when people talk about enemies to lovers, this is probably the epitome of enemies to lovers because I've never seen two people who want to kill each other as much as these. Like, it's not just like a one-time thing. I mean, there are whippings, there's torture, and they do it to each other. There's biting. I mean, it's quite violent. And then, next scene, they're like, all right, we're allies. And it's kind of funny how they pivot that. But yeah. It's pretty heavy in the beginning.
It's heavy, but in like a playful way, in a way, because they're gonna become lovers, right? Eventually.
Yes.
So if you're into, kinky play, I guess this is kind of like, right? It's kind of like SM, right? So you're like, okay, guys. I mean, I think they're both very martial characters, right? They're both warriors, and so they can give as much as they take, right? Like eye for an eye type of mentality, and they're truly enemies, right? Because he was invading their kingdom. They were at war at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's understandable, and in some ways, it's almost refreshing that he's beating this woman up and she's beating him up. Like there's no gender differential here necessarily at the beginning. They're just like, I see you as my enemy. I must, neutralize you, and you are gonna do the same to me.
And we talked about this offline, but the fact that she's playing a general character, and we've talked about other female actresses in China who play these quote-unquote generals and how they don't really look the part. I mean, she really feels fierce.
Yes.
She comes off as if you could believe she's like at the top of the military, in the military, and can command people and can really protect herself and also hurt other people. So I think as that character, she's also very, very well cast.
Yeah. So we'll talk about casting because I think you and I were going back and forth before we started recording. And I was like, well, how do we talk about this without going too deep into like random plot stuff, right? Or just having nothing to talk about because it's one of those shows that you just enjoy watching, at least for me. So I think we're gonna approach this in a couple of different ways because the show can be approached in a couple of different ways, as you and I talked about offline, right? It's kind of a show that you can enjoy purely for the plot twists and turns because there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in the arc you're in, which is the first arc, it's about finding out what really happened to her, right? And kind of
Yes.
the what's happening to her being pursued by assassins, how she fell off the cliff, is actually tied, as they figured out, to something about the battle itself where he almost got killed. It's all tied. There's like betrayal on both sides, and they're kind of in the middle of it. That's why people are kind of after both of them. So you can watch it for the plot, or you can watch it for, it's a costume Chinese drama. So usually it's about the CP and the romance. I would say that this show's not heavy on romance, but it's there constantly, the undertone of romantic
Yes.
tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very well interwoven and well done. And the two
Yes.
leads are really well cast, in my opinion. So I think we can talk about the casting and the character dynamics from that angle. And last but not least, which I think helps a lot, is also just the overall look and feel, the packaging of the show. So maybe we start there, right? Because,
Yeah.
we don't gush maybe as much about visuals.
I was gonna say for the visuals also, like the first episode, the battle sequence was really amazing. Like it looked like it was cinematography, camera angles, actual explosions, and the amount of people. I don't know. It's probably like a CG combined with live action, but I thought it felt like a movie sequence. Actually, it did not feel like a Cdrama sequence. And I thought, like, wow, that's one way to pull you in because, I mean, the rest of it, they don't have to go as big, but they really went big in the first 10 minutes when you're right. Like, basically, it starts right off with the battle. There's no like build up. They just show you that you're right in the middle of this battle. And I thought that was actually done very spectacularly. And then later on, when you see the other parts of this world, the world building is very nice. But yeah, that's that. When you say visual, that's the first thing that popped into my head, like the battle sequence.
Well, all the fighting scenes, right? Not that there's constant fighting, but when they do fight, uh, it's very well choreographed, in my opinion, right? It's not just
Mm-hmm.
random people flying around with nothing to see. I think part of it, again, is attributable to the casting because she is believable as a fighter. She's
Yes.
a dancer, I think. Oh, Chinese opera, I think, by training or something. So she can do all of these things and make it believable. And he's pretty believable as that, killer prince. Right? Doesn't he have like a nickname, right? The killer
Yeah.
prince or something like that?
Killer God or
Yeah,
something.
杀神.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the choreography between all of the characters, actual physical interplay is very well done, big and small. And to your point, the battle scene is very chaotic, like a real battle. And then maybe they spent all their budget on that, and that's why there's no marketing dollars left. Because that's the joke in China. They're like this production is so poor they can't even market it, right? Like the official TikTok for them was like, yes, we're the poor marketing team.
Really?
Yeah, they have it on their
I
actual
wanna.
not TikTok, sorry, Douyin, the Chinese version
No,
of TikTok.
I'm gonna look that up. I wanna see
And
that.
and that's why like the show's not as super popular as people expect, but I think it's also the star power, right? And it's not marketed, and it's competing with a much bigger IP or star draw show that's in parallel. Anyways, I digress. So I think one thing I'll say before we maybe move on from the visuals and is that I had said to you when I said, hey, we should watch this show, that it feels like a package similar to Moonlight Mystique and Coroner's Diary in the pacing, the storytelling, the visuals, the costuming. Oh my God, the costumes are gorgeous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the coloring, right? The color palette is very fresh and maybe too colorful in some ways. So it could go really badly and chintzy if you don't do it well, right? But it feels like those two shows, and then the plotting and the pacing feels a little bit like the double, just in the crazy
Mm-hmm.
progression of things, the turn of events. So
Yeah.
that gives you an idea, right, of like the overall look and feel. I do wonder. I looked up the on MDL, the producer and director. So there's 3 directors listed. The main director is the guy who directed Starry Love, as well as Ashes of Love, and again Moonlight Mystique.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe there's that, and then the 2 co-directors. One was on I want to say one was on Moonlight Mystique or Coroner's Diary, maybe, and the other one was on the story of Quinning Palace. So that could be it too, because that was
Yeah.
supposed to be a sensational show too. And then the producer listed is also the producer or a producer, I think, on one of those, either Moonlight Mystique or Coroner's Diary. So it's all interrelated, and maybe that's why it's evoking memories, echoes of those shows for me.
Right.
So
Shows that we both enjoy, as you know.
yes. So
Mm-hmm.
give those people more scripts that work. Maybe there'll be more dramas to watch, right? Okay, sorry. So then, do you want to talk about then the plot and characters? If
Mm-hmm.
you were watching this, right, with that hat on, what are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, the female lead she's very strong and convincing. And I don't like amnesia cliches, like it's always heavily used. But I feel like the way it's
Mm-hmm.
used here, maybe and this is based on a novel, I believe. So,
Yep.
and you can speak to that a little bit. I don't know how much they used from the novel, but the way at least they used it in the drama, I felt like it made sense because in the beginning it's almost like a whodunit, but not whodunit in a classical way, right? She's not like, oh, I lost my memory, therefore I'm a weakling. I mean,
Yeah.
she still has strength, she still retains her
Her
personality.
instincts are
Yes.
intact.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? So she just can't remember where she came from or who she is, but she's still her. It's not like I'm an empty shell because I lost my memories. And so I found that very interesting, and I thought the way the prince, so this is my first time watching this actor. I know he was big in Hidden Love, and you mentioned Handsome Siblings. So I like him in this character too. Like he comes off as he doesn't come off as this crazy prince, even though he's a killer god. He's definitely
Mm-hmm.
like ruthless, but it comes from a point of loyalty to his father, the emperor. Oh, I thought the dynamics also between the prince and the emperor is very interesting. I don't know if we want to go into that
There'll be
here, but
more. There'll be more.
yeah,
Where I am, there's a
yeah,
huge scene in like 2024. I was like
yeah.
holding my breath watching. I'm like, this is the most crazy scene ever, but at the same time, like intense crazy. But at the same time, it was like very satisfying to watch.
Oh, okay. So where I'm at 12, I find their interactions very interesting as well. But so yeah, so far I just feel like all the pieces of the puzzles, like they all fit very nicely. All the
Mm-hmm.
characters they bring on fit very nicely. And sometimes you can complain, oh, there's tropes of, oh, they met in the past, but I feel like it works here. Like it doesn't feel contrived. It feels like, oh, it explains why someone has these feelings towards someone because they met in the past, not because, oh, now they must be together or something. So I feel like the way everything fits when you're watching this, it's like, oh, this is very comfortable to watch because of there's logic in the script, the characters are consistent, and they all have their very specific viewpoints, and you can see it from every angle. You can actually empathize with both nations. You're not like I'm on this side versus the other side. Like both nations have something that they need or want, and you can argue like I'm okay understanding their viewpoint. I might not root for them, but I understand it. So I feel like they're very fully fleshed characters even in the first 5 to 10 episodes.
So really, we're talking more about the plot and characters, not the casting and the
Oh,
acting right
sorry.
now. But no, that's fine. I think you have to touch upon that, right? I just want to kind of say my piece on that plotting and characters part, and then transition to what you started on, which is the cast. I
Mm-hmm.
do really like the plot and characters. It's a very simple plot in some ways. I mean, it's convoluted in that there's a lot of plot, right,
Yeah.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an onion being peeled very I can't say slowly, it's actually very fast paced. That's another thing about the show, it's very fast paced. You're never bored, you don't feel like they're dragging much, although the kids part was a little bit draggy. You're like, oh my god, how much can these kids cry? But we got past that. We lives are okay again. But I would describe the plot as everyone loves everyone and hates everyone ardently. Like, as you go on, it's just really that one of those shows. It's like a real soap opera with swords.
Mm,
And the villains are multitude, but their reasonings for being so-called villains are rather interesting. I think you've already seen that, right? Like kind of the complexities. Like there's really no good guy and bad guy in that sense. Like you're just at loggerheads because you have very different objectives or
yes.
what you care about in life, right? Are gonna pit you against each other. So they're not just pure paper villains, even though initially it seems that way because they don't reveal the backstory until the story progresses. And my God, the backstory is like a domino effect. You're just like, I mean, where I am, I've already seen a lot of the backstory. I'm just like, oh, so that happened, and that's why this is happening, and that's why that person's mad at this person, and they want to kill you. Like that's, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, by the point you get to where I am, which is almost more than halfway through the series, right? 24, 25, because the show's supposed to be 38 episodes. You realize that what you thought was a show about two crazy main characters, right? Because the main leads start out fighting, beating each other, killing each other, biting each other. No, they're the most normal people in this whole show. Like they're the most emotionally grounded, mature people. Everyone else around them is crazy. But they're not
Yeah.
just like randomly crazy. They all have their obsessive reasons for why they're crazy and doing the things that they're doing. So in the storyverse logic, it makes sense. You don't go, wow, this is a horrible script. Like, why did they write it this way? And so that's kind of a very interesting experience. I would say that well, I won't spoil it for you, but by the time you get to where I am, this is a classic case of bad Chinese parenting yet again.
Oh no. Say it
um,
ain't so.
yes, but it's very it's done for good dramatic effect. Okay, and the bad parent does a good job as a bad parent. If you're gonna be a bad parent, you're gonna be bad parent all the way. But they're not, again, one dimensional bad. They you could sort of see their reason. I mean, you also have the opposite of that, which is a bad filial person too. And that is also gonna be a main driver of the villainy or the story
Mm.
plot. So in some ways, I was thinking about this, like, why does this feel so different from your typical Chinese dramas that we've been watching, like costume ones recently, which are so, in some ways, pedantic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet seems familiar. I think, you tell me if you feel I'm somewhat on the mark or not. It feels like watching an old school TVB costume drama.
Why do you say that?
Because the TVB costume dramas I grew up watching from the 80s and 90s were all about that. It was always about love, right? And there's always something on the line, but it's always about love. And the villains were never pure paper villains. It was always like, I hate you because I have this giant grudge that you started or someone started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have my righteous standing and you have yours. And we're just going to fight it out
And you
and
feel
see
like
who out.
but you feel like the pedantic Chinese dramas don't do that. Like they're more.
Well, they take two-man tangents, first of
Oh,
all.
I see. I see. Like
Right?
you mean it's not as
Story-wise.
tight a storyline.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's not tight. The pacing is off. Too much like googly eyes making at each other for no reason, right? Like here, I wish they would make more googly eyes, but it would be out of character. I would say that the male lead, Feng Sege, is more of the lovey-dovey person.
Yeah. I was gonna say
To
he's
her.
definitely more googly eyed. Even
so
up
much
to
for the
episode
killer
12.
god.
Yeah, because he made a lot of exceptions for her, but she's completely oblivious to it, right? She's like, "You're just taking me prisoner," and he's like, "You're the most free prisoner ever." Like, you have like the best life as a prisoner if you're a prisoner.
Yes.
So,
But she's not like a rock either, right? She's not completely a dodo head when it comes to acknowledging. Well, I guess where you are, I don't know if she shows that she acknowledges that he's done like
no, she has
special.
not. No, she doesn't look at him as a potential anything yet. She's still annoyed with him.
Well, I mean, I get why she would be annoyed at him. Uh, so, okay, so
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry. Anything else on just the plot and the characters on their own?
No, I'm enjoying it immensely right now. So that's all.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope other people check it out.
So let's talk about casting because you started on the fact that Li Qing is really good in this, and this is the first thing you've seen Chen Zheyuan in. I agree on the Li Qing assessment. She's the best female warrior I've seen in a long time, if ever. We really liked her. Remember last year in the few people watched Snowy Night, Endless Love, where she wasn't a warrior,
Timeless
but she
love.
was. Oh no, I thought it was Endless Love. Anyways,
timeless.
It doesn't matter. Nobody watched it and nobody will remember.
People, please watch that show. It's
a really good show. It's a really good show. It's a slow burn show. But she wasn't a warrior in that, but in some way she was kind of like a fighting doctor, right? She fights for people's lives and her principles. So I really enjoy her in that. I'm really glad to see her in a more active role here. But yet again, I think yeah, I mean, she's pretty much on the older side for Chinese actresses, right? She's 35. But yet, I think she can play these roles. It's a good thing that she's not kind of like an airheaded young kid, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope there's more scripts for her to do like this. Remember I said, oh, has it been a year since the last show we watched of hers from iQIYI? If they just put out one show a year with her that's like of this caliber, like Faded Hearts and Endless Love, I'd be happy, right? Like there's something to watch every year I would enjoy. So I really like her. I would say this is the best role I've ever seen Chen Zheyuan in. Not that I've watched that many of his. I liked him when I watched the remake of Handsome Siblings from like 2020. So that was a long time ago. He was very young baby face, and he tended to give me the impression that he's a very goofy, boyish kind of prankster kid with a lot of like tics, meaning like he's just active all the time and up to something, right? Not your usually well-grounded, manly, handsome leading man type. I know he's popular because of Hidden Love in other shows, but that's my impression of him. So this is the first time where I see him as like, wow, he's like the real leading man, you know?
Yeah.
He's still boyish, don't get me wrong. He's still got his cheeks and big round eyes and has his boyish moments, right?
There was one scene where I was watching and I was like, wow, he has really nice eye makeup. Like, I was like, it's like prettier than most girls' eyes. I don't know what they did. I mean, he still looked manly, but I was like, wow, they really went all out with his makeup.
It's the same eyeliner game, I feel like, as Ari Pan's in Moonlight Mystique, right? And I was like, oh, who does it better? I think Aoi Pan carries it better, at least in the beginning. I think in the later episodes, they somehow got his makeup more toned down, so it looked more natural on him. Or either that, or I got used to seeing him like that, because he already has big eyes, right? And then they got giant like dark liner on. You're like, his eyes are gonna pop out of his head.
So like, I need someone to teach me how to do my makeup like that.
So yeah, like it just, and he and Li Qing pairs really well. I mean, I would never in a million years thought they would have been like a great pairing, but it works. It's just like a hot chemistry. I think she pairs well with younger men because she's like 35 and he's 28, and Joseph, who was her leading man, right, in Snowy Night, was also young. So maybe she just works with younger puppy love man boys.
Manly boys.
So yeah, I hope Chen Zheyuan gets more roles like this. He's got a couple of other costume dramas coming up. So I don't know. The ones with what's her name, Wu Jingyan, who's also older, but she's a very different type of older from Li Qing, right? So we'll see. And then the other ones with was it Zhang Zhenyi, the what's her name from Fall in Love, the girl from Fall in Love.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Did you know he was in a unreleased drama with Tan Jianci, right?
No.
杀破狼. So it's a BL.
Yeah,
that is a BL.
Is it a BL?
Everyone wants to watch that.
Every unreleased one with your two male leads like BL.
Yes, it's a BL, and so that's when you see them on like variety shows. I think they're pretty buddy because they start together in that show. So,
Oh,
anyways,
interesting.
and let's talk about the other actors because there's quite a bit of I think actor noting and actor spotting to be done.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
you mentioned something about the Emperor. I like the Emperor. Like his character is not likable. I liked how
No.
the character is conveyed.
Yes. Yes. Because he's not a one note, like some emperors they just come on and like they play like, oh, this is the perspective and that's all you get. I feel like here they try to give him a little bit more dimension and he's not as unforgiving as they kind of painted him in the beginning. And at least where I'm
Mhm.
at right now. I don't know what he's going to become later on, but I like the emperor, the prime minister. He's the guy who plays him, Eddie Chung, Zhang
Mhm.
Xiufei. He's a
Yep.
well-known Hong Kong veteran actor. I was surprised to see him jump up on my screen because I was like, oh, I haven't
Me
seen him act
too.
in many years. Right? I mean, I think he was never he's interesting because even when he was at TVB, he was never contracted with TVB. They always hired
Mhm.
him on basis, like whenever there's a role that they want him, because he was famous enough that he could do that. But I don't know what he did with the rest of his time. Like I don't know if he did movies, but yeah, he's always been in and out of acting.
He was plotting the downfall.
So I was like, oh, I like Joseph back in the day. So far his character's kind of meh in here. So far, I'm waiting to see the prime minister kind of play a bigger role, if at all.
Yeah, his role is limiting in the emotional range he can display, but he still has presence, right? Which is important for a role like
Yes,
that.
yes. And then the second male lead, who's like the prince of Jinxiu.
Yeah.
So you told me that people in China hate him right now, or they're hating on him
People
because
always bash on him, right? By the way, I think
yeah.
he's good friends with Auripan, but because they're from the same agency. But yes, they bash on him.
Oh.
They say he's so like not a good actor. He has no expressions. I'm like, what kind of expressions do you expect from the man?
I
Like, what
I
is?
like I like him. Like so far, even though he's a gray kind of character, I still like him in this role
Mm-hmm.
so far. And then I was telling you like he was probably like the only character I liked from Feud. He was the nice
Yes.
mortal neighbor. I was like, oh, it's that guy again. I don't know his name. I like him. He left a good impression on me. So I'm interested to see how his character evolves, if at all. And then the only one thing I'm not 100% on is like the princess, the sister.
Oh yes, so annoying.
I feel like there's something off about her.
I don't think it's you think. We all know. Like everyone's just like, oh my god, the most exasperating person in the world. Like every time she comes on screen, you're like, what is wrong with you, right?
So
Um
my radar is not off. Like it's
no, she's
something.
just like she's too coddled is the reality, right?
Hmm.
And she's very selfish. And as people say later, if you get to as further, people are saying, oh, Suige, the male lead, took after his mom, and the princess took after her dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
meaning like how selfless or selfish, how you think about things and approaches topics, which is kind of
mm,
true. So
mm.
they do say daughters, right, follow their father's footsteps and sons follow
Interesting.
their moms. So it's interesting, right? Yeah, she's exasperating, but she actually has a huge plot line coming up when she gets married and goes, off.
Okay.
So, but they've changed this a lot from what I understand from the book, and I am reading the book. So I would say that the story verse in this drama is way more convoluted, intricate, and crazy than what was in the book. The book is actually
Mm-hmm.
really just more about the three main leads, kind of the push and pull, and it's more like female lead is more in love with the second male lead for much of the first half of the book. She truly
Mm-hmm.
does love him. He won't be with her for reasons that I'm not going to tell you right now. But he's not a bad guy, okay, in the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's awaits to be seen, right, if he's a bad guy in the show.
Right.
um, and the prince, the male lead, is more, I think, the one doing the pursuing and jealousy, being jealous and stuff. The antagonism is different, coming from different directions and for different reasons. It's not. It's more of a smaller like love triangle verse than the show. The show is just crazy in a good way. So, A couple of honorable mentions before then. I think we move on to some wrap-up thoughts, right? And what we think is going to happen next, at least from your perspective, because I know more of what's going to happen next. I like the doctor. You know the doctor
Yes.
guy.
Uh-huh.
From Starry Love, right? The father in Starry Love.
Wait,
Did you
which doctor are
notice?
you talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the girl doctor.
Yeah, is there another doctor?
Oh, her dad shows up, so you haven't seen him show up yet. Okay, never mind.
No.
Spoiler. Sorry.
No,
Take
I
that
mean I
back.
know there's a dad because they've mentioned him, but I didn't. Yeah, he hasn't come on screen yet. Okay.
Um, I also like. Well, I don't like the Emperor of Jingshou, the enemy state, but the actor in it is also from The Starry Love. In case you're not aware, he was the third male lead in The Starry Love. 地男
Mm-hmm.
爵, the Beast Prince. So there's a whole plot line between him, obviously, and his half brother, the second male lead, and then his wife. And I think the
Mm.
rest of the show. I think the show eventually will, focus on that eventually. Not yet. So
Yeah.
things to look forward to, right? Okay. So let's do some wrap up because I'm assuming we'll finish the show at some point and then talk about it in a wrap up session. But before we get that far, what keeps you watching? Like what are you looking forward to in this show? From where you are,
Hmm.
and what do you
Okay.
expect to happen?
That's the hard part, right? I mean, okay, you know, so I don't want to reveal who tried to kill the female lead, but it is revealed by episode 12
Yeah.
who did it. And I think I was more interested in knowing. I think they show you, I mean, they hint it to you who did it, and you're like already on that road of okay, mentally preparing yourself. I think what they didn't show is like why, like what was the motive behind it. So I'm interested in that. I'm interested in how she and the male lead will pivot from, because now they're just like allies, but she's still kind of a reluctant ally. She's only doing it because she's has no memory, so she's relying on him sort of for shelter and protection in some ways. So I want to get to the part where she hopefully regains her memories and then she can actually make decisions, on her own without relying on other people. I'm trying to understand why the other nation suddenly decided they want to do a marriage alliance. Like I feel like no one's really talked about that. They're like, "Oh, it's going to bring peace." But I don't see that. I think something else is going to happen. Because what else is going to happen for another 20 something episodes? So, cannot be peace. So, those are the three things that I think are keeping me watching.
Okay. So I think you'll get the answer as to what really happened with her very soon. You'll get some resolution from what. So I'm on the cusp of the big love scene, episode
Oh,
25. Yes, I keep
okay.
seeing clips of it, and I was like, can't wait to get to the end of episode 25. But before that, I think the lead dynamic will progress further than where you are, and it's like I said, the romance is not the primary focus, but it's very well interwoven into the show. So you're not missing it as you're watching the plot unfold. It's very
Mm-hmm.
much part of their persona and character
Yeah.
motif as it moves. So I think that's very well done. I don't know about the war or no war thing between the two enemy states. I actually don't see this as a story of nationhood and rivalry between nations. It's actually a very petty, personal pettiness type of show. If you deconstruct it, that's what I said when I said the show's really about everyone loves and hates everyone else ardently.
Mm.
For reasons. That's all. I'll leave it at that, right? And you can be the judge of like, are these reasons you can stand your foot on or stand on or not? Are they cray reasons? I would say in my book, they're all cray reasons, but you kind of sort of understand how that it's logical or explainable in this storyverse.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention though when we are talking about the characters, like I like the kind of motley crew that's around the first prince.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Like they're funny. Although I was telling you, like, why do they all look so similar? Like they cast actors who look kind of similar, and I was like, wait, which one is this? I mean, I'm sure they look distinctive. It's just at a glance, like when they're running around, and you're like, you only get a few minutes, of each person.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, which one is that? So, but yeah, I think overall the supporting cast is also very strong in this.
Very, very well gelled production. I mean, I think it's not even a big budget production, but somehow somewhere I think I saw a posting that before it came out, when it was in production, someone listed it as A production. You know how the
Oh,
levels, there's like
mm-hmm.
B, A, S, S plus. This was
Yeah.
listed as A, so it's lower budget. It doesn't look that
It
low budget to
looks it
me.
looks high budget.
I mean, the universe is definitely smaller once the battle scene is over, right? It's more intimate, but it doesn't look
Mm-hmm.
cheap to me. It's well shot. So they did a good job
Yeah.
with the budget they had.
Yeah, I mean, even when they show the city scenes, when they're walking through, I mean, it's a lot of extras. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
5 people walking in the background. I mean, there's probably like 100 people in the background. I was like, wow, this is. I mean, like I said, I'm sure they picked and chose like which scene they spend more money on, but I
Yeah,
feel like it made the city of Yujing. Is that the
yeah,
name of the city?
something like that.
Like more like real and grand, didn't feel
Yeah,
like a little countryside city. Like you're like, oh yeah, this is where the imperial family would sit. So
yeah.
um yeah. No, it's a good show. I'm glad you told me about it. It was not on my radar, because apparently there was no marketing behind it. So
Yeah, and the only reason I wanted to watch it was because I saw the trailer for it a year ago when it was still in production, and I said, "Oh, this trailer looks really interesting." But you know how these things go. Usually, trailers are nothing like the actual show. This is one of the few shows with the trailer and the show, like it delivered what I expected from the trailer and then some. And these are
mm,
not two actors I normally go, ah, yes, because I told you I had a positive impression of Chen Zheyuan only from one show. Everything else after that I've tried to check out or see, I'm like, that's not a topic for me. Oh, he's too over the top in this role or something to that effect. So I kind of was never really like, oh yeah, I need to see every Chen Zheyuan show, out there. But now that I've seen this, I'm like, I'm really glad I checked it out. And Li Qing, she's now really rising to the top of one of my favorite actresses. Not because I
yeah.
think she's a great actress. I think these type of recent roles I've seen her in suits her. So she keeps getting cast or gets to pick scripts like this. And they're consistent in quality. I will watch them because I like this brand of drama.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, all right, then I guess we'll hopefully be able to finish this soon and then come back and look at, our final verdicts when the time comes.
Sounds good. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.